and it was Steve's polite way of saying the top 1% aren't fucking wankers.
Hello everybody, and welcome to The Deep Drop for another episode. The Deep Drop, it's a fishing podcast hosted by me, Luke McCredden, and my good friend Adam Ring. That was a very, very basic sort of intro, but let's probably go into a bit more about what The Deep Drop is, because we've got some loyal listeners that have probably been through it all so far. But what I'd like to think is there's some new people jumping on board. So for those, welcome. And Adam, over to you.
Welcome if you're first-time listener.
Yeah.
And to all those that have been there from the start, I can't believe you've hung in there, but thank you.
Yeah.
This is a fishing podcast about all the things that you never hear about but always speak about.
Yes.
So picture this. Road trip. What do you talk about in the car? We cover that. You're on the water. The first 3 hours go by. Haven't got a bite. What are some of the ridiculous questions that pop up? We answer that. Or, the other side of the coin, you're out there pile driving fish from the very first cast. You're over it by lunchtime because your arms are sore and you start thinking about weird stuff. We cover that too.
Yeah.
Whatever you can think of, whatever weird and wonderful question you've got in fishing, we try and answer it.
Yeah.
But we don't always have the answers, and that's what makes the Deep Drop so special.
Perfect. And what we then tend to do is give it back to you guys. And Instagram is the place to get involved, because we quite often will post, or we will always post, questions from the episode on the Instagram page. The Deep Drop Instagram page is where you'll find it. And we ask to get your feedback, your thoughts, your opinions, your views, and any experiences you might have in whatever we're talking about. And so far, mate, we are over 50 episodes in, and it's exactly why we keep doing it, because the feedback and engagement we get from you guys, it just keeps it going, and it's so good. And there is no dumb question. There is nothing silly you could possibly say that would be sillier than what Adam and I are saying. So
that's right. There is no wrong answers.
No.
Listen, I'll fight you if I think you're wrong, but it's not a wrong answer.
Yeah. If you try and quiz him on barbecue shapes or that redfin are the best freshwater species, Adam will fight.
I won't have it. I won't have it. I'll tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
But I also don't mind being told that I'm wrong when I'm being an idiot, which is most of the time.
Now,
so get involved and have your say.
Yeah, and if you'd like to call us idiots to our faces, we're open to that too. Where can you call us idiots to our faces? Great question. Glad you asked. We are going to be at the Melbourne Boat Show on Saturday the 28th of October. We'll be there on stage in the afternoon doing a live performance of The Deep Drop. We will be recording an episode at the boat show. So if you want to come and heckle, if you want to come and just listen, if you want to come and participate, because we will need audience participation. I'm not going to even just beat around the bush. We need you guys desperately. And get down there. Now, the beauty of it is the tickets are free. So if you're anywhere near Melbourne over that weekend, please come down. Make it the Saturday if you can only do one day. Book your tickets at the Melbourne Boat Show website. They are free, but you still need to book them and have them on hand. But they are free. I can't emphasise that enough. So it doesn't cost a thing. Get down, get involved. You might even walk away with a Deep Drop stubby holder, Adam.
Just saying.
So we'd love to see you guys there, and anyone that you think might be up for having a bit of a fun and a few laughs, bring them on down, because we really want to see everyone down there having a bit of fun. So the Saturday afternoon is when we'll be hitting the stage at the boat show. I can't wait personally, Adam. I know you're ironing your tournament shirts as we speak.
Listen, there is no chance I won't be wearing a tournament shirt. And that probably actually sums up the Deep Drop, because we covered that a long time ago in the very early days of the Deep Drop podcast. I very openly expressed my disgust at tournament shirts, yet I'm going to be wearing one to a live event. Go figure.
Unbelievable. I kind of do believe it, but I won't believe it until I see it. Anyway, it's going to be a ripper. Please get down there. We're going to have lots of fun, as we always do. And that's what this thing is. It's just fun. And we thank everyone so much for being a part of the Deep Drop with Adam and I.
Hey, Luke.
Yes?
I want to do something a little bit different. I spent a long time on the road this week,
Right.
which means I listened to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
I may have even delved into the world of audiobooks, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Jesus Christ. This is new to me, audio.
Yeah, so that's okay. There'll be plenty of time to talk about that later.
Okay.
But one of the podcasts that I did listen to, it really got me thinking.
Okay.
To the point where I made notes.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, I'm actually going to give you a little bit of a test.
Oh, shit.
So I listened to a belter of a little podcast during the week. It was only 15 minutes long, and it's all it needed because it was gold.
Yeah.
Starlow's Cutting Edge Fishing Wisdom. It's a mouthful of a name,
That's a hectic title.
but it exists.
Okay.
Now, for 15 minutes, Starlow went through 10 things that separate the elite fishermen from us mere mortals.
You're right.
So, Luke, we're going to see if you're in the top 1%
Oh, Jesus Christ.
of fishers. Now, I just want to preface this by saying, go and listen to the podcast. It's only 15 minutes of time. It's actually really interesting. But I'm going to spoil one
now?
little bit. Yeah, maybe wait till after this.
Okay.
But I'm going to spoil one little bit.
Sure.
Starlow, the one and only Steve Starling,
Yeah.
in this very podcast, this Starlow's Cutting Edge Fishing Wisdom, based around the 10 things that separate the top 1%,
Yeah.
claims that he's not part of the 1%.
Wow. Okay.
Listen, I'll argue with him because I think he is. But I digress. So, Luke, I have 10 questions here
Right.
that in Steve's eyes,
Yes.
they separate the elite.
Okay.
The ones that you look at on social media and just think they're the ones. Like, they just get it done all the time. So, here we go. Question 1.
I'm so anxious. Like, I am genuinely, nervous about this. I'll preface this by saying there is no chance I'll end up in that with 1%.
I don't know. It's actually, it's probably not as out there as what you would think.
Okay.
And this is why I bring it up.
Oh,
so, number 1,
Yep.
when you go fishing,
Yeah.
do you just go fishing to catch something, or do you have a specific species in mind every time you go fishing and target that one species?
Yeah. Species to target. Yeah.
All
I
right.
have a species in mind. Now,
And you specifically target that species.
yeah.
Awesome, because according to Starlow, that is crucial
Okay.
to getting to that 1%. You
Wait, hang
go
on, but
fishing
what's
with a
the-
species in mind. So,
What's the alternative, though? Like just going
you
out
just
with
go
a bag
fishing.
of blue bait and hoping that someone will...
okay. Well, I know you've been doing some squid fishing, right?
Yeah.
So when you launch your kayak or you jump in a boat, whatever you're going to do you go, today, I'm targeting squid? Or do you go, I'll chuck a soft plastic around and see if I can get a salmon or maybe a pinky or maybe, if we cruise over a weed patch, I might throw a squid jig around and see what's going on there. And then if that's not happening, we'll just go and get some King George whiting. Do you go fishing with a purpose of catching a specific species?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Mate, hey, 1 from 1.
1 from 1, baby.
At this stage,
Ring the
you're
siren.
in the top 1%.
Yes.
That's right.
Righto. Okay.
9 more to go.
No, Jesus. Yep.
Number 2. How well do you know your prey?
How well do I know my
What's your
prey?
What's your favorite species to target?
Yellowtail kingfish.
Have you done the deep dive? You know what they eat, when they eat it, when they spawn. When's the best time to target them? What's the best tide, best conditions, water, blue or green? There's a wind. What lengths have you gone to personally
Yeah.
to get to know those species that you prefer to target?
Yeah, it's a fair call. I think I do because when I think about the boxes to tick before you go out, I tend to think that, I'm aware of which boxes need to be ticked. But see, that what lengths have I gone to? I would say that time on the water and time targeting said species. Something I've done since I was fairly young and fell in love with them deeply to the point where, you really deep dive and do some research on them and speak. We're only talking to Lee Rayner recently about it's really important to speak to people around you and your peers to learn. I think I've been fortunate enough to speak to some of the best kingfish anglers in Australia, in Lee, Al McGlashan, pick their brains and learn. And I would suggest that I'm confident to cover most of those. Yeah, to know what it takes.
Two, Lee.
Yes. I mean, saying that and doing it is another thing. But again, I do. I back myself. I think I know what I need to do.
Two from two.
This is I feel like this is a job interview.
Yeah. For the best job ever.
I know. Yeah, true.
All right, number 3. Number 3 is based around using the right gear.
Yep.
So let's use kingfish as your ongoing example. It's probably going to be the easiest one.
Sure.
Would you go kingfish fishing with a $30 Kmart combo?
No. Although it would be fun in a lot of ways.
It wouldn't
just
last
have
a
it,
kingfish.
just have it ripped out of your hand. No.
Because number 3 on Starlow's list was based around not so much using the most expensive gear.
No.
But having an understanding of what gear is required to target whatever species that you're trying to specialise in or trying to target on a regular basis.
So I'll lean on you here because I think you know probably more than anyone, because you are equally as nerdy about gear, as particularly when it comes to this sort of thing as I am. You know that we've both collectively bought way more gear than we need as far as how much we've got. But it is the right gear for those species. We've done it together.
Yeah, that's right. And I was going to answer a yes for you there because we have actively not only worked in tackle shops together, so we've been exposed to a lot of fishing gear, but also have that passion, and we enjoyed taking the deep dive on all of this gear, and we still do. So again, it's not about the most expensive, but it's about finding the stuff that's going to be capable
and I can tell you
efficiently.
Straight off the bat, I don't have the most, because if I wanted to go for the most expensive gear for kingfish, I'm not even in that realm. I've got what it takes, the gear that it takes to catch them. It's good gear, but it's certainly not the absolute top echelon.
And that covers everything from rod and reel to line to leader to lures. It's the whole system that it takes to
And I would
catch
also,
kingfish.
and I'm not trying to deviate from what we're doing here, but I would say that is one of my absolute favourite things about any fish that you target. So whether you're talking about kingfish or you're talking about squid, getting to know the gear that you need is actually fun. And once you get in a rhythm
100%.
of learning and being willing to put in some time to learn about said gear, mate, it's the best.
It is. But it leads directly into question 4. So 3 from 3, by the way.
Wait, wasn't that 4? Wasn't that one number 4?
No, that was number 3.
Oh, I thought I was 4 from 4.
It's going to be a long podcast.
Jesus, yeah. All right.
It's all right. But we're going to get results at the end, so it's all good.
Good.
So using the right gear leads directly into number 4.
Okay.
How confident and how often would you apply finesse? So again, finesse, as soon as I hear finesse, I think brim fishing with 3 pound or trout fishing with... Let's not go down that path yet. Let's talk kingfish. If you're struggling to get a take and you know kingfish are there, how much will you play around with finding the right balance between downsizing the gear to get the bite, but still being left with a really good chance of landing that fish? Are you prepared to do that?
Yeah. And I think, I think kingfish is also one that there are so many techniques and ways to catch them that it's about going through all those. So again, I think you've been on board when we've done it, whether we've gone from top water stuff, lightening up and throwing plastics, jigging, not having success, so grabbing the lighter gear and actually using smaller, bottom ship style jigs to entice a bite. Yeah, I think I've done that, and I think I'm.
Well,
this genuinely feels like a job interview, by the way. I'm not comfortable.
No, but I know that's a yes because again, I've spent a lot of time fishing with you, and finesse is.
Finesse is an interesting word.
It is because it's on a massive spectrum from ultralight to ultralight for specific species. But I think that's been drilled into us from our early days in the industry.
Yeah.
again, we're passionate about the gear, and having a finesse component to your game in fishing is massive.
Yep.
So for anyone listening out there that wants to improve their game, focus on finesse.
Yep.
Are you fishing with 30-pound mono in Port Phillip Bay for snapper?
Yeah.
Because I'll give you a hint, you don't have to these days.
Yeah.
So finesse.
And just because I think, and I don't know, maybe everyone's a bit different, but finesse sometimes feels like someone's trying to say you need to go from 30-pound mono in Port Phillip Bay to 4-pound fluoro straight through. It's not like that.
It's not. It's not.
It's more just about understanding what is actually required, but then tweaking and manipulating the gear to just really detail and get really
Entice
micro
that
with
bite.
it.
Yeah. 4 from 4, Luke.
4 from 4. Jesus.
Nice.
I'm feeling good.
Number 5.
I don't feel like I've got the job yet, but I'm feeling good.
No, we're going all right.
Yeah.
You're going all right.
Okay.
According to Starlo, number 5,
Yep.
the top 1% hone their basic skills. Now, the 2 examples he gave are knot tying.
Yep.
There is 1,000,001 different knots out there. You choose what's best for you. It could play into finesse. It could play into using the right gear. But how confident are you with tying a knot that's going to hold up in extreme conditions on big fish, regardless of what you're chasing? So whether that's an FG or a PR for kingfish, whether that's a slim beauty or a back-to-back uni for a brim, or whether it's just running straight through to your gear for whiting. You're pretty confident with your knots?
I am. And again, can I lean on you for some support here? Because I think we live the FG knot, I suppose, popularity thing together. But I'll throw this into the mix as well, because I've been very fortunate to do a fair bit of. And again, are we still using Kingfish as an example here? Yeah. So I've done lots of local stuff, whether it be out here in Melbourne or up on the south coast of New South Wales. Also been fortunate enough to do a few trips over to New Zealand and chase some of the big kings over there. And what is interesting there is sometimes when you need to really get some heavy leader going, typically fairly heavy braid, it's about a strong knot. It's not always about the most pretty and finesse knot, and you just need the right knot that works if you're jigging or, casting's a different beast, and that's where FG and those sorts of things come into it. But I think I feel good about that one. Are you giving me a tick for that or what?
I am, but the next part of it, which Starlo used, was casting. Now, being open and honest, as I was listening to podcasts, I'm like, I target species, fuck 1%er. I know my prey enough. I wouldn't say I'm a junkie on anything specific, but okay, I'll give myself a pass there. Using the right gear. Gear's what I love. Yep, I nailed that. Applying finesse, sweet. This is the one where I thought, I'm shit at that.
What?
Casting. If I was casting into a school of topwater kings out in the open, fuck yeah, I'll nail it. But if I'm in Paddo trying to skip cast and a very lightweighted plastic under a boat hole or next to a pontoon, mate, I will butcher this shit out of it.
Right.
Until I finally get one.
And if I need to be taken on the water and this is a practical exam, then so be it. I do feel like I'm not bad with casting. Now, blue water casting is kind of a tough one to judge on because for the most part, it's just bang and cast
open
out.
Water.
However, I do think there is a bit of an art to knowing exactly where to cast, even if you're talking about tuna or kingfish or whatever offshore.
Yeah, where to cast?
Yeah.
Different thing.
Okay.
Different thing.
If we're talking
your
about
actual
accuracy,
casting ability, like
so
I can lob a cast like into the vicinity, but when I've got to get micro and I've watched and I've fished with some of these 1% dudes, oh my god, look, they don't miss. Like if they brick one, it's my best cast.
Yeah. Okay, if we want to get... I don't know. I mean, it depends what we're basing this on. Because, again, you and I have spent a bit of time in trout rivers together. I back myself as not a bad cast.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. We can both cast.
Yeah, and hit targets. If you're talking about fucking bow and arrow skip casting with your toe type scenario, it's not something I've done.
Nah, yeah, me either.
So I don't know. I don't know the full gambit of what level
So
we're.
let's use that example. So you enjoy estuary fishing.
Mm.
So do I. We've done it plenty of times together.
Yep.
If we're fishing middle of the day, sun's high, quite clear, we know those brim and EPs are going to be stacked underneath the overhang of whatever it may be.
Mm.
Can you put that lure at the back of that shadow?
Or
Majority of the time?
majority of the time.
Or do you need to rely on just... Because majority of the time, the vast majority of the time, I can put it on the front edge of the shadow.
Yeah.
But if I need to skip that bad boy, or I need to get low and change my rod angle and cast sidearm, forearm underneath, man, I'm going to brick the shit out of it. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think, I think that's always a tough one. The only, and I'm happy to, by the way, I'm happy not to be right in all these, but I will say that's an interesting one based on if someone doing this test doesn't do any estuary or freshwater, like he's purely like a blue water fisherman, can they not answer the question?
Yeah, definitely, because it's the basic skill. So a basic skill of estuary fishing is being able to cast in tight quarters.
Yeah.
It's not a prerequisite for blue water casting, whereas distance may be. Now I know personally that you can sit back from a school of topwater kings or tuna or whatever, and you can get maximum distance so that you don't get too close. That would be, say, a basic casting in a blue water sense.
Yeah.
Can you get the timing with the gear that you've got at hand to get the lure away from the boat so that you don't spook said fish?
Yeah.
I know you can do that in a blue water situation, yes. I estuary fish majority of the time. I can't put it in those tight spots majority of the time.
Not majority
I
of
failed
the time.
on that one.
I reckon if you're asking me about that, I reckon I could get it there, but majority of the time, absolutely not. When you say right up under a snag, under a mangrove, right up the back, yeah, I reckon you could as well, but not if we're saying...
Not majority
Not
of
if
the
we're
time.
saying 19 times out of 20.
Nah.
No.
So that's a little bit of a grey area, but one to think about. And for those playing at home, don't kid yourselves. That's tough. Basic cast, depending on what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I just think there is grey area there with you know, if you're not a estuary fisherman.
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah, I'll pay it.
No, I'm not trying to.
Oh, no, as in, I respect what you're saying. You're right. It's open-ended. Number 6. Number 6.
Are we sending this to Starlo, by the way?
I don't know, but I'm dead set using this as like a friggin' teacher and student type scenario, so it hit a chord with me.
Oof.
Number 6 is attention to detail. Now, some of the stuff that he listed in this, even for someone who understands these things and is a gear junkie, I don't do half of this shit.
Yeah, righto. Well, give us some of the examples.
So using loop knots instead of tying directly to a lure, depending on what you're doing.
Nah,
me either. Do you pay attention to rod angles? So depending on where the lure is to where you've cast it from, do you pay attention to rod angles to keep the lure working for the maximum amount of time?
If it's a top water lure, yes.
Or anything. So if you if you cast a hard body, you can keep the rod tip high to start the retrieve back to you.
Yeah.
But as you bring it closer to you, you can't keep the rod tip high. It's going to pull the rod out. Now, I think we naturally do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think without being too micro, we probably do that.
But yeah, I agree. So I would say that we would do that. I don't think we're necessarily conscious about it, but I think we do that just naturally.
Yep. Okay.
Do you pay attention to gear ratios in your reel?
No. I'll be straight up honest and say no.
Me either. I couldn't even tell you what the gear ratios are. The only time I even ever look at a gear ratio is if I am selling a bait caster.
I've got a Stratic 1000, 6.1 to 1. I knew that. No, but you're right. No. Oh, yeah, bait casters would be different, but I don't have
And this is where the sizing of reels gets interesting, because if you wanted to get microed like the top 1%, they might have a 1000 size reel instead of a 2500 on a top water outfit because the gear ratio best suits working a top water lure. As an example, I never pay attention to that shit. Just saying.
Yeah. No.
But according to Starlo, the elite
straight up
1%.
honest and say no. Okay.
Yeah. So I reckon I gave myself an epic fail on that one.
Yeah.
My attention to detail isn't great.
No. So yeah. So that's a question. Attention to detail in jet. That's
Yeah.
I'm happy to put my hand up and say no.
Number 7. How good are you at pattern recognition? So the example used was, say you fish over a 1 month period. You spend that month chasing kingfish.
Yep.
How good are you at recognizing patterns and what the fish are trying to tell you? Whether it be casting from a different direction, whether that be sitting up or down current, whether that be at a certain specific point in the day, you've noticed that they've started eating top water compared to when are they going deeper for at any specific time of tide. What do you like at, I guess, reacting to the patterns that the fish or the conditions are trying to tell you?
I'd like to think that I'm not bad, but some of that is, and maybe this is part of the question, or I'm being real basic. Some of that on the day is like on the time on the water on the day is trial and error, right? You know what I'm saying? So
but trial and error in order to get the pieces to put the pattern in place. So say hypothetically speaking, say the answer to the pattern that was trying to show you that on the first hour of the run out tide, kings were coming off the reef and were actively eating top water.
Yep.
Would you notice to that level that that's a pattern that the fish are showing you, so that as you progress through the month, you can get to the end and go, we're going to get kings on top water at this time. This is what they're showing me.
I don't know.
I'm not.
It's a tough one. I'd like to think there's to a degree, but I'm not going to sit here and say absolutely. It's also a tough one. I'm not fishing for the same species for a month.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy to say, nah, probably. And we've made it very clear in a previous episode that I don't keep a fishing diary. Is that the next question?
Which leads into number 8. Now, number 8 was the benefit of an accurate fishing diary. So Starlo said he has never been good at doing this.
Yeah.
His diary, so to speak, because he enjoys the photography side, he relies on date stamps and location stamps of digital photos.
Yeah.
But he even said that doesn't paint you the best picture because you don't know when you failed, and you also don't. An accurate fishing diary. It's an epic fail for me. There's only one person I know on this planet that keeps an accurate fishing diary to that level, and it's Brett Geddes.
Brett Geddes. But no, it's a no from me as well. Having said that, I absolutely think the benefit of having a fishing diary could be and probably would be really beneficial, like really big benefit. But yeah, no, I've never done it. Never done it.
And this is what I took from. By the way, I'm about to turn a 15-minute podcast into a 1 hour friggin' wrap up of the thing. The overarching thing that I got from it is, you said you don't fish for the one species specifically all month. The top
Probably
1% do.
Yeah.
They have their specialties and they just obsessed with it. And they go all the time.
You mentioned Brett Geddes. Do you reckon Brett Geddes would be in that top 1%?
100%.
Looking back through all those questions, knowing a bit about him and having him on the show recently? Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Because number 9, building a trusted network.
Well,
I know that you're good at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that through what we've done for a living for the last 20 years, we do have a trusted network because we worked with half of them.
Yeah. Some of them are untrustworthy.
Yeah. But part of
your reaction.
But Starlo did specifically say,
yeah,
a trusted network of actual friends that you share information with, not social media. He actually went as far to say social media is one of the biggest traps because though you can get some really valuable information that is true and that you should take, there is also a large amount of misinformation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, 100%.
So
I think
a tight knit group of trusted people that you can bounce ideas off or share information and help each other put the pieces together to get you to that 1%. He's saying that the 1%ers, they have those networks.
I reckon I do. But again, it's not talking like. I think my network is a little bit more general as far as I've got some friends and connections in my network that are hardcore into a species. And we'll use Brett. Like if I'm going to go down and chase perch around his area, I'm ringing him for some info. Do you know what I mean? But he certainly doesn't lean on me for information, but there's a bit of, or I'll use locally around the Ballerine down here where I am. There's a few guys who are absolute guns down here, and lucky enough to be friends with them, so they'll share info. If I'm spending a day on the water, I'll give them a wrap up of what's happened as well, just in case they were thinking of going out that day or the next day or whatever it is as well. There's a bit of that. So it's probably, I feel like this question is more probably targeted to the people that are quite literally on the phone every day with a bit of a summary of what they've seen and experienced that morning or whatever it is, bouncing those sorts of ideas off them. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and because for me, I think I'm notoriously bad at this.
Right.
If I'm going to go fishing somewhere, I don't ring anyone. I just go. And I do myself a disservice.
That's fine.
But I do myself a disservice by doing it because I have a network of people that I can call and get proper good information.
And you don't
but I don't use it.
Okay.
I don't use it.
Well, you know what you need to improve on.
Yeah, so, but clearly not a 1%er.
All right. Wow. Okay, I might look at those questions again and have a think about who might be in that 1% because I can think of a couple straight off the bat, but not many.
But you know what? This very last question, number 10.
Oh,
here's
sorry.
the one.
I thought we were done.
No, but
I've already left the interview. I didn't get the job.
Number 1. This is where I think when I start thinking of people that I would put in the 1%, they kind of fuck up on this one.
Okay. Ooh.
The top 1%.
Yes.
Have humility. And it was Steve's polite way of saying the top 1% aren't fucking wankers.
Yeah, right. Oof.
They will own a zero trip. They will own when they're struggling. If they're calling 400 people to get information, they're more than happy to return information when those people call back. And there was a very interesting passage of what he was saying in the last little bit of the podcast. And it's very similar to something that you've said on a recent podcast. The ones that walk around telling you how good they are not that good.
No.
If you are that good, you've got people telling you that you're that good.
Yeah.
So you're not walking around telling everyone, hey, look at 1%er.
Yeah. 1%er over here.
No. You just go out and get it done for the love of the game to accumulate and share your knowledge with your network of trusted anglers.
All right. So based on all this, I want to put it out there to the listeners. Who do you think is in this 1%? Is there anyone that you think is in this 1% based on what Adam's gone through tonight? I'm not. Adam's not.
No, I'm not.
I reckon based on all this, someone. But so on that last question, are we saying that? How was it worded?
So humility. Those top 1%, they're not afraid to tell you they caught nothing if it was tough.
Yeah, okay.
They're not afraid to tell you that
so we're not saying that they have to, if they don't share what they've been doing, they don't fit the mold.
No.
Because I think, I was just thinking, and love him to bits, and he's certainly far from a wanker. And we mentioned Brett Geddes. I mean, I'm sure he has over the years told you caught absolutely nothing today. Had a shocker, but he's also not going to give out all the hot spots and
Yeah, but with Brett, if you are in his trusted network,
yeah,
he will tell you everything.
Yeah.
So the trusted network thing is not just telling everyone what you know.
No,
that's not what it is. It's about
and the humility is just being able to say, "Got fuck all today,
got nothing,
fucked up, should have done this when I did
zigged when I
this,
should have zagged,
okay.
went here, couldn't get him."
Can I throw a name out there and that I think could be in this 1%? Did he name anyone who he thought was in the 1%? By the way, Starlo?
Yeah, he did at the very top, and it was a mixture of some old school guys that helped bring him up with his knowledge. It was some guides around that just jets on specific species.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about just
I've got-
all-rounded guys that are just good at fishing. A lot of them had specialties that they sort of specify.
I've got a couple of people in mind, and one of them I respect so highly, and I used to speak to him a hell of a lot. Don't so much anymore, but I was only thinking the other day it'd be cool to get him on the show, so I will chase that up. Someone who I think, especially when you go into, all the just being, I don't want to use the word because it's a bit hard, but just being a almost nerd-like with your study on particular. Someone like Chris Cleaver, who used to work for Shimano,
was one of the people that Steve Starling named.
Bullshit.
100%.
No way. He's just someone that came to I was thinking about those questions. I used to speak to him so much, and the info that would just ooze out of him.
Yep.
And he had humility. He was happy to say, "I've tried this new lure and it got fuck all," or whatever it was. Wow. Okay. Fuck.
He was
Starlo,
one.
mate. We're on it. But he's a ripper, and I really want to get him on the deep drop. I think he'd be cool to speak to.
He's a very interesting dude and knows.
He's interesting, but he's
I agree.
fucking
He's a
good
1%er.
fisher. Lee Rayner?
1%er.
Yeah. And he's an interesting one because of his media background. Typically, you don't see too many people in the media that have humility, with all due respect. But he does.
But see, I personally, I put Worsling in the 1%ers too. And a lot of people don't know because they only know him from...
As the character from iFish.
From iFish TV. Yeah. Mate, what that dude has done in fishing and knows about fishing and knows how to turn 0 into 1, which when you're filming a TV show, 1 can be the difference between costing you a lot of money and having a finished episode.
And you
Worsting's
talk about...
a 1%er. He knows how to fish.
Oh, yeah. And you talk about the network. Like, I don't think anyone's got a wider network than that bloke when it comes to fishing.
No, but Paul does have... He would have his key network that if he doesn't know or he can't work
that's
it
what I'm
out,
saying. No one's got he's got a wide fucking network.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a couple. I mean, I'd love to hear from anyone who thinks that maybe you're a 1%er. Let us know.
Let us know. I'm not. Well, Starlo claimed that he wasn't. I don't know Starlo personally, but I mean... I grew up watching the guy. I would have put him in the 1% class with his knowledge. The network would be huge. I mean, not just knowledge. This is a dude that knows the scientific names of half these species.
Exactly. And he studies hard when he goes fish, like before, and
he's
he has for
he's a gear
decades.
junkie.
He's a gear junkie. I mean, again, without knowing him, I would have thought he'd be able to say, had a tough day today, didn't happen. The humility piece.
I reckon he would. And I'm not going to hold it against him that he doesn't keep a diary. I'm willing to overlook it.
Fucking hell, yeah. Well, actually, that might rule a few people out that I was maybe, I don't know, does Worsling or have a diary? I doubt it.
I reckon it's 1%. I reckon it's 1% of the 1% that keep a diary.
Scrap the diary question, Starlo. Fucking hell. It's 2023, my friend.
But yes, I thought that was a very fascinating podcast, and I couldn't wait to interview you to see if you were in the 1% club.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for ensuring that I'm not in the 1%. But that's good. But that's fine. That's great. I loved it. Thanks for that. What I'd love to do, so we're caught. Yeah. So let us know if you think who you think would be in that 1% club, or if you are based on what Adam's gone through today. And what we might do too is share the episode somehow on our Instagram because I think it'd be cool for other people listening. So I can't remember the name you said because it was
Starlow's
about 18
Cutting
words.
Edge Fishing Wisdom.
Okay, Starlow's Cutting Edge Fishing Wisdom. It's a podcast, right?
It's a podcast, yeah.
Okay, so you can go find that. We'll share it as well.
Yeah.
And, I think we need to get Starlow on, to be honest.
Well, I think we do too, because I need to convince him that he's in the top 1%.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. Can we go back through those questions with Starlow and diary aside? Because if it's just the diary that's stopping him, fuck the diary off.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We'll come up with another question.
Yeah.
8. Keep it. As a group, we'll come up.
We'll come up with something else. All right, I'll get him. Let's get him on. Let's do that.
But I thought it was interesting to hear from, in my eyes, a 1%er, what he thought makes a 1%er.
Well, do you know what? Now that I think about it, the humility piece, he's just already ticked that box by
saying that he's not a 1%er.
By saying that he's not a 1%er.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks, Ads. I had a lot of fun with that. That's really interesting. I'll go back and have a listen to that myself. And we'll share the link so people can jump on and have a bit of a look too. And in the meantime, let us know what you think of those questions. Do you fit the mold? Do you miss out by one? Or, how close are you? And don't worry, it doesn't matter.
No, you can all strive to be a 1%er.
It's a 1%er for a reason. It's there's very few that are at that level. And it's not about being the best. It's about just how dedicated you are.
And listen, if you want to recap and go over them, please go and listen to Starlow's version because it goes for 15 minutes. And that's because he's a 1%er. He got the information across in 15, whereas it took us an hour.
Yeah, literally. And that's okay. All right, let's leave it there. Good work. Great job. I love that you made notes. Is that the first time you've made notes in over 50 episodes?
Yeah, don't expect me to do it again.
Okay. It took it out of you. It took it out of you.
I'm done.
All right. Well, good stuff. That's us. Thanks for listening. Again, if you're new here, I hope you've enjoyed it. There's plenty more. Go back through, have a listen, let us know. You can comment on old stuff too, by the way. Shoot us a message.
The conversation never closes. It never ends.
It never ends. It's a song that never ends. That is us. Thank you, Adam, and have a great one, everyone. And get out on the water. Enjoy it. See you at the boat show?
See you at the boat show, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Bye.